Need to turn my lights on. Give me a second. All right. There's the speaker. Good morning, everyone. Well, actually, good morning for me. I've said this twice now because I've got Katherine in the wings. Had a chat with her this morning, and again, this morning for me. Afternoon for everybody else around the world, I'm guessing. Let me just flip to that. All right, here we go. Let me just turn some lights on here because I was meant to do it and I forgot. Boom. That looks pretty there. Yeah. What do you think of that? That looks nice. And then one more light back here. Sorry, everybody. Got my back to you. Boop. And one more. Boop. There we are. Hoping everybody is well. Hello, everyone. I'm guessing you can all hear me, yeah? I'm getting a hi. Tara, welcome. Good to see you there. Marcini. Hey, man. That's a new name that I haven't seen before. So welcome. It's nice to see you guys there. I've got Vic, one of the I call them gangsters of the channel. So Vic and Fred, welcome. Good to see you guys. Dusan, welcome. Mai, welcome. Actually, Mai is an Aussie, and it's 8 a.m. here, and so it's a bit more of a feat for us Aussies. Mind you, I'm making it sound like I had to get up at 3 in the morning to dig a hole somewhere. I woke up at 6:30. Big deal, right? And Igor, the man, if I'm not mistaken, Igor, you won the Ambre Kamja, is that right? Igor, recently we did the spin of the wheel with Philippe from Une Nuit Nomade, and lucky man won the full bottle, so good for you. We have Roderick from Austria, welcome. This is pretty cool. Actually, we've got the world coming through, which is pretty cool. Hello, everyone. It's nice. I've got my mate, so it is 8 a.m., so I have to be drinking my mate. One thing that I didn't talk about, did you guys notice that I had a new mate holder? Check it out. Actually, switch cameras, boom. I picked this up because I always, whenever I travel, I always like to get a little ceramic memento or something. I've got a whole collection. I'm a collector. When I talk about that I'm a collector, you have no idea. If you come to the office, I've got Sandra in the background, and she is nodding. Not only is she nodding her head, her whole body is moving with a yes. So I collect so many different things. But anyway, one of the things that I love collecting is handmade ceramic things. I actually look for like ceramic places, and I found this one in France, and I really love it. I don't know if you can tell. It has this great little, I don't know how they did it. This little wedge thing here. It's gorgeous. It's just, you know, I'm a nerd. What do you do, right? What do you do? Do I use? Okay, so Vic's asked me the question. Actually, I've got a few questions here. So let me get Tara questions first, which is my favorite. Yes. Sugar leather. Oh my goodness gracious. I mean, honestly, I remember when I first experienced that, I really thought, like, where have you been hiding? So sugar leather, if you haven't had a chance to go out and experience that as yet, please, I really insist, check it out. Actually, I'm going to switch this off. Boop. I'd really encourage everyone to go check that out. I'm going to sort of ring the bell for myself. Have a look at the Discovery series that I've done, where you can use my NFC 10, get a 10% discount, and then follow me with that Discovery series. So if you want to know a little bit more of a breakdown, experience in real time, I talk to camera, which I love doing. And no, that sounded, yeah, but I love sort of the engagement. To be in the room with someone is the fun thing. All right. Vic, you asked me about gourds. So the Argentinians normally use a gourd for their mate, and it's made from a particular fruit. I don't use it because you have to. It's so much. It's so. There's a real procedure. You have to dry it properly, and after you use it, you have to make sure that it airs. Otherwise, there'll be a little bit of mold that establishes in there, and I just find it. I'm just a get up and go kind of guy, and I find it super tedious, and so I don't use it. This is why I love ceramic, because ceramic is super easy to clean, and just we're done. Okay. Sorry, you bought one. Sorry, man. Look, the classic is a gourd. All right, so if you want to be a real Argentinian, un gaucho, as they would say, then yeah, the gourd is the way to go. My dad hates using ceramic. He's a real Argentinian. He uses the gourds, but as I said, for me, I find it's a lot of work just to make sure that it's dry and blah blah blah. So I just anyway, boom. All right. I want to point out that there is a gentleman in the group here called John C. John, I salute you. So John, so we have a thing on the channel, which is the memberships. I'm going to talk a little bit more about memberships in just a second. John, membership also buys you access to Discord, and you can get into the Discord conversation. If you want to get behind the scenes, get really deep, and I'm talking I was going to say waist deep, but in fact, it's probably chin deep in all things niche perfumery, then the Discord channel, the NFC Discord channel, is phenomenal for that. And John, I've branded him in the office as the mayor of Discord, because John he's the mediator there's a lot of conversations that gets asked, and John is constantly in that mix. The wealth of knowledge on this man is phenomenal. So if you want to know, sometimes people ask me questions on the channel, and I really, genuinely, I don't have time. I want to answer. a lot of comments come through, and I want to respond, but there's just too much going on. So if you do have some, even to the point, what's a good fragrance versus this versus that, jump into Discord. There's a lot of great conversations there. And as I said, John is he's the mayor. He's the mayor of Discord. He keeps everybody in line, which I'm grateful for. So John, one day, hey, I need to go to the US. 2026. So 25 is going to be a bit crazy, but I'd love to be. Scent Explorer is on my sort of my vision. I can't do it this year. I don't think. Anyway, I would love to be in the US and maybe even do a bit of a touring around. I think it'd be awesome to catch up with people and meet up. Anyway, boom. All right, so in the wings, I have a wonderful young lady. Her name is Katherine. She has her own channel, and I'll I'll put it in the comments. So if you're able to jump across and support her, she covers a massive range of different things. Ladies, if you're into also makeup and things of that nature, Katherine does a lot of work in that area. As you most likely know, I am the niche fragrance collector, so all I do is niche. Katherine also talks about other fragrances, and so she had her library is quite broad, whereas I tend to be I'm very sort of in one lane only. So anyway, so Katherine, so if you want to go check out her channel, by all means. But she's in the wings, and she's going to talk about, this is something that we spoke. She liked the thought of fragrances, so masculine fragrances. And how does it sort of, how does a woman sort of perceive them? Because sometimes I know that as a man, you put on a fragrance, and the classic is this, all right? So Green Irish Tweed is a fragrance that men love, and men love to smell it on other men, I've noticed. So if I'm wearing it, all the boys and men around me, not boys, but men, they're all like, whoa, you smell great, but I never get any comments from women. So no women ever go, wow, you smell fantastic. So Green Irish is a great fragrance to give you confidence in a group of other men. You stake your place. Whereas I find that I get more compliments with something like Aventus. We're going to talk about that in just a second. And I get more compliments from other women. Go, wow, you smell really nice. That's a beautiful fragrance. So it's interesting that what we think as a man smells really good on us. And if you want to, I guess, if you want to attract the eye of a lady, if you're married, I wouldn't recommend you do that, because you're only going to get yourself into trouble. But if you do want to attract, the eye of a lady, then these are fragrances that sort of sort of appeal to a female sort of nose. Did I explain that right? I think I made a mess of it. Lives, I always get nervous in lives because it's like you gotta be saying all the right things. Anyway, here we go. All right, boom. You know what? I'm gonna push forward, Katherine. I think I've created enough suspense. Now we can't hear you, Katherine. The technology. I always love tech is a painful thing. Okay, we can't hear you yet. Are we hearing? Is it just me, or can you guys actually hear Katherine out of interest? All right. All right, no sound yet. All right. Well, I'll let Katherine, and I'll keep the stage on. All right. So what I wanted to do is, so there are a range of fragrances here that Katherine recommended. Okay. What I'm going to do, Katherine, I'm going to take you off stage so that you don't. Everybody's watching you right now, so I'll let you sort of work out the audio, and you can come back in when you're ready. Okay. Just give me a heads up. All right, so Gabriel. Well, firstly, Gabriel, welcome. I don't think I've seen your name come across before. Maybe actually I have. I've seen your thumbnail. Good to see you, man. All right, so Enigma by Roja Dove. Enigma. Now, I think Enigma, if I'm not mistaken, is that the one? Because I think it's called EM something in different parts of the world. Am I right in saying that? I'll wait for you, Gabrielle, to respond to that. Because the short answer is I do like it. If that's the one with the same one we're talking about here, I do like it. It's very boozy. But if you want a really, really good boozy fragrance, let's have a look, making sure I'm saying the right one. Yeah, Creation E, cool. So I do like it, but if you want a really, really good boozy fragrance, I would recommend to you Baraonda by Nasomato. I think, and if I were to, like in my reach scenario where either one or the other, I instantly grab Baraonda. It's just like, it's an easy reach for me. It's got a beautiful whiskey honeyed note. It does have a rose in the heart of it, but that rose is very subtle and it works beautifully across the entire composition. So it's really, and actually just a little fun fact, you can actually drink it, not that you want to. I did try it once. So Alessandro mentioned that with Baraonda, he uses an alcohol which can be consumed. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to taste this out. So I did spray. It is very sharp alcohol. But the rose in your palate is actually pretty impressive. I mean, I only did it once, and I think I only want to do it once. But the rose scent that actually was coming through in sort of in mouthfeel was phenomenal. But as a fragrance to wear, nothing's better. Boom. Or actually, over to your man. There we go. We're getting a few others. Let's talk about Gritti Mango Oud. It's right here. Tara, we're going to be talking about it. All right. Let me try again with Katherine and see if we get the mic working. Here we go. No, we've got technical. We actually, just so you know, we tested before we started. We jumped on prior to beginning, and we were chatting, and audio was sounding amazing. No, can't hear. Oh, we're gonna. I'm not sure what that means. Sorry. Oh, you can try with your phone. Yeah, by all means. Yes. Boom. We're going to do sign language, even though I have no idea how to do sign language. All right. Steve C. Question is, actually, before I answer that, Steve, Katherine, are you happy for me to leave you on screen, or do you want me to take you off and then you'll come back in? You can even, if you want to, just leave, so jump out of the studio and come back in. Sometimes, as weird as that sounds, that she's gone. All right, that's cool. Technology, I tell you, sometimes and I'll just as a side note, we test. We make sure everything's working, mics are on, blah, 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 blah. We go live on something, or we're filming, and all of a sudden it goes, you know what? I can't be bothered. I'm just tired right now. I don't really want to do this anymore. All right, so Steve, short answer, I love Hachivat. I did put there is an episode on the channel which I speak about Hachivat, and Nishane is an awesome brand. Really, really. There is such a vast collection of fragrances that I have that I literally don't have time to do everything. I made a joke in a few Mata Talks ago that I really need to clone myself, because there's so much more. My desire is to create more content more regularly, but I just don't physically have time. I actually have 2 or 3 other businesses outside of NFC. And I just don't have time for everything. And so, and especially right now, it's a really busy time for one of my other businesses. And it just like all weekend I was working. It is what it is. But short answer, Hachivat is phenomenal. Really, really impressive. Beautiful masculine fragrance. It does have, if you like patchouli, it does have more of a patchouli dry down with that sort of classic aromatic earlier notes that it has in there, but it's a really good fragrance, good masculine and long lasting, great projection, beautiful sillage, all the things that you want in a fragrance. Boom. Actually, fragrance connoisseurs comment, Uniki's Kutai is awesome. I don't have it, so this is one that I don't have in my collection. I have smelt it. I have, and I did like it. It was actually quite a great fragrance. Okay, let's have a look. So we've got Katherine. All right. We're just getting a few technical issues, but we'll keep rolling. All right. So Casumarati. Yes, Casumarati is another fragrance house that I need to spend more time on. I've probably got about 3 or 4 of their fragrances. I've doubled down when it comes to Casumarati and Zorjovs. I've doubled down on Zorjovs like crazy. I've just gone full, I've gone ham, as they would say, just really pushed down in that direction. So I do have some Casumaratis that I should detail. I'll promise. You know what I'll do? I'll do a lineup. I'll have a lineup of the Casumaratis that I would recommend, especially if you're new, where would you start and all that sort of thing. Boom. All right, I'm gonna have a little drink. All right, so it looks like I really feel bad for Katherine, because there's nothing worse than having technical problems and trying to solve it. So I'm gonna roll forward, and with the hope that Katherine is able to come back in. All right, I'm taking a break from buying Fred. Okay, so I did have a question. So thank you, Fred. That was Fred's come back. Oh, actually, Katherine's come back in. Let me just have a look. Let me have a look to see if. Hello, Katherine. I can hear some noises.
Can you hear me?
Boom. We got there.
Now that I'm effectively thrown,
You know what I was going to suggest is, how about you just compose yourself, because I'm sure right now you're nervous. You're like, and so what I'm going to do, I'm going to remove you, and let's cross our fingers that it's all good. But just compose yourself. I'll chat for a little bit. I'm going to show some of the fragrances back here, and then we'll come to you. So give about 5 minutes, okay?
Okay.
All right, awesome. Excellence. I was saying about, so most of you may know that Kevin and I, touring company, we're going to be doing a tour through Excellence and also throughout Milan. It's a big experience we're going to have. I'm curious to know, are there other people who might be joining or going to Exxon's. I know that the Saturday, the last day, they open it up to the general public. If you are going to be in Milan or whatever it may be, Kevin and I are looking at doing like a meetup like the day before, so I think it starts on the Wednesday. So we were thinking of Thursday doing a bit of a meetup in somewhere. There's a great boutique called Fuea. For those who are familiar with the channel, you know what that is. It's a gorgeous boutique in the middle of Milan. So we were thinking of doing like a Fuea meetup, probably about 7 o'clock onwards or something like that. There's some other beautiful boutiques there too, which we can just catch up. And it's really just a chance to meet and greet, say hello, smell some fragrances together, listen to your recommendations, engage in a more personable way. So if you are going to be in Milan, I will be making some further announcements, but if you are going to be in Milan, I definitely personally would love to catch up and say hello to you guys. Okay, so boom. All right, 18-year-old who loves for any recommendations for summer that should consider. Okay, Steve, Katherine has some really gorgeous fragrance that will fall into that category. And now I'm going to push Katherine on. And audio.
Check, check, 1, 2.
Boom. We're there. Awesome. Well, I did a bit of an intro for you, Katherine, but I think it's better if you share about your a little bit about yourself, about your channel, and then I'm happy to launch straight into the first fragrance that you would like to talk about.
Okay. My name's Katherine. I've loved fragrances and beauty ever since I was little. Like my coloring books, I did the makeup on each of the pictures and loved all things fragrance. Most of my adult life occupationally has been dealing with beauty. So once the pandemic hit and I was actually teaching, I decided I needed to explore my beauty past, and so got back into creating videos and talking about beauty with everybody who would talk with me.
And then I'm guessing sounds like that's how the channel was birthed. And
yeah,
it's funny. I think all of us did the same thing over that lockdown period. We were just like trying to find some level of sanity, and believe it or not, this is where we all landed with this sort of thing.
Yes, very true.
Now, where would you like to start? I'm going to follow your lead. So I've got a few of the ones that you recommended. I've got some extra ones back here in case people want to know, but I'll let you lead the charge and I'll follow your lead.
All right. Well, maybe we should start off with one that probably everybody will know, and that is Aventus Cologne. So, I'm sure most of you are familiar with Aventus Cologne. I love it mainly because it is citrus, but yet crisp. It's got that aromatic nature and just really appeals to me. I think it fits well with most, or at least most men that I've experienced it on. They've worn it well. That being said, I mean, I do want to note, and I saw on one of your other videos too, your own body chemistry really depends. I mean, how a fragrance smells really depends on your own body chemistry too. So I've smelled one in the bottle that I adore, and I smell it on a man, and it's just not doing it for me.
Right. So, okay. So why would you choose this versus the original? That's probably my biggest question that I have for you.
The original just smells like an older version to me. It's more robust. I really like the aromatic and kind of fizzy nature of the Aventus Cologne. I guess I find that more attractive than the heavier, more herbal type notes.
Yeah. I would have to agree because I have shared in the past. So for men who may have the classic, the Aventus, which is a great fragrance, I find that it works better it works better in winter. The birch tar, the slight leathery note, the heaviness, as Katherine was saying, works really well. You do feel a little bit more of an older person wearing it. Not that you feel like an old man, but
no.
it definitely has a much more of an old touch to it. And I agree with Katherine. So my pick is also Aventus Cologne. I love similar to what Katherine was saying, the fizziness, that very bright sort of citruses on the opening. You're saying
not to diminish Aventus either. I mean, I do enjoy Aventus as well. It's just more sophisticated, I think.
Yep. This is a great, for me. So Steve, you asked earlier, good fragrance for an 18-year-old. I think the age was. Aventus Cologne, phenomenal. It's a really good, and you can see, I mean, I have a lot of fragrances, and you can see how hard, boop, 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 boop. You can see how hard this one's been hit. I mean, a massive collection is in here, and yet that one gets hit pretty hard. So it's a really, really good fragrance. I would recommend to you, Steve, for South Africa, that in the heat, it would be gorgeous, gorgeous fragrance. Anything else you'd like to share on that one there, Katherine?
Not about Aventus Cologne. No, I think we've covered it pretty well.
Love it. Next one. What do you think?
So moving on, I don't know, should we do Himalaya or Gentle Fluidity next?
Whatever you want. You're the boss.
All right. Well, let's go with Gentle Fluidity because I think it's on the same wavelength as Aventus Cologne. It's also very fizzy. It's kind of labeled as the gin fizz type fragrance. I really, really enjoy this one as well. I do think it might be more of a spring summer scent, but I mean, I think you can wear whatever fragrance all year long and you're fine. Whatever floats your boat. But the neat thing that I enjoy about Gentle Fluidity Silver is that Gentle Fluidity Gold, which is the kind of the more female version, they both have the exact same notes, and they were just kind of compiled differently to create two different fragrances, and they can actually be worn simultaneously, or they just coordinate really nicely. And I really appreciate that as an artistry behind Maison Francis Kurkdjian.
It's and actually, I want to highlight that particular point that Katherine just made, and that is that Francis grabbed the same notes, and this blows my brain, grabbed the same notes and just composed them in a different way to create silver and gold. And the idea is that they're meant to be a silhouette of each other. So a man would wear silver, the woman would wear gold, and the gold, believe it or not, has a lot more vanilla. The vanilla really comes through. And they would be a silhouette of each other, you know, so you would be like this super powerful couple, you know, gentle fluidity couple.
That's how I feel about it. I was just going to say the silver too, women can wear it just as easily. I feel I've worn it. It's lovely. So
silver was very, very early on, before the channel and before, I think it was like 2018. Sandra bought this for me as a Christmas present, and she loves it when I'm wearing this. So again, for men, if you want a fragrance that the women around you go, whoa, what are you wearing? You smell great. Gentle Fluidity Silver is one of those fragrances. And true story, one time I'm in the bathroom, Sandra was outside, the window's open, and I had sprayed the Gentle Fluidity Silver. And from outside I hear, whoa, what are you wearing? That smells beautiful. So it's one of those fragrances that really projects really well, has great presence, and there's a freshness to it. Another one, Steve, that I would recommend as a great place to begin.
Definitely. I actually gave a sample of this to my dad, and I didn't think that I had really enjoyed it at the time, and he sprayed it on, and I was just like you said, just blown away by how great it smelled. I'm like, okay, I got to have that sample back because I do not want to equate this with my dad.
Dad, you smell great.
Yeah, I know. It's
yeah. It's one of those aromatic, because men like wearing aromatic sort of dry wood style fragrances. For me, classic. It's one of the minimums. If you like that style, that's an absolute minimum that I would recommend to you also.
Definitely. I think it's a definite classic that you need in your collection as a guy.
Next one, what would you like?
So let's move on to Himalaya then. I think that is a good segue.
You know, I didn't grab it. I should have grabbed it. Anyway,
okay.
I know it, so I'll I'll let you lead. I know it really well.
Okay. Well, the neat thing too, which is unfortunate you didn't grab it, is that it's one of the only metallic, I can't ever say the word flask,
Okay.
of Creed, so that it actually is supposed to look like a flask, like a hiking or I can't think of words today, but like a mountain climber. So
yeah,
your water that they would take along, because it is supposed to be reminiscent of the Himalayas, and Olivier and Irwin's travels there and expeditions. I think it's very similar to Aventus Cologne in some ways, but it doesn't have that woody aspect to it. It's way more fruity and citrus. So I think it's just as appealing. It's just a bit sweeter and a bit more fruity in nature.
Right. Yeah, that's another one again. So if I know that I'm going into a meeting, Green Irish Tweed would be the choice. It's a really good masculine, confident fragrance. But if I'm going to something a lot more casual, there's going to be a lot of it's more of a party, then it would be Himalaya. And Himalaya tends to be more appealing to a female nose, believe it or not. Men don't pick up on it. I don't know why. Men pick up on Green Irish, but women pick up on Himalaya. Whenever I'm wearing Himalaya, I do get a lot of compliments, like, wow, you smell really good, beautiful fragrance. What are you wearing? So that sort of thing. And it's personally a hidden gem. Himalayan, many people don't talk about it.
For sure. I can't tell you how many guys I have introduced to this fragrance, and they're like, God, I didn't even consider that one. And then once they wear it a few times, it's like, no, I needed to have this.
Yep. Yeah. Big recommendation.
For sure.
Actually, let me stop. What are your thoughts, everybody? Like, I'm seeing a whole bunch of comments coming through. So far, have you guys? What's your Creed lineup like? Have you? Do you agree? Yes, Royal Water. You know what? I struggle with Royal Water. Royal Water, is that the one that has the eucalyptus note?
It could be.
I could be, yeah. Royal Water, I'm like, I've tried to love it because a lot of people also enjoy it, and I really, that eucalyptus on that opening was like, being an Aussie, eucalyptus, we use it for, like, if you get a cold, you rub eucalyptus on your chest and all that sort of stuff. So unfortunately, it takes me to that, just as a remedy, as a cure. I had another one here from Awandi. You've written Silver, so Royal Oud, Silver Mountain, Virgin Island, Love and White. I love all of those except Silver Mountain. That's another one I struggle with. I find that the cassis or the blackcurrant note on the opening a little bit interesting. It reminds me of a particular animal that may pee on things. Smells like cat pee. I don't know why. To my brain. So I have to suffer through the first part, and then finally, when it dries down a bit more, I can enjoy the rest. But at the start, I really struggle with it. Original Santal, gorgeous fragrance, gorgeous.
Silver Mountain water too pairs really well with Virgin Island. It's okay. I don't know what about it, but the two of them together, I really enjoy it.
Yeah. Silver Mountain is gorgeous. That's another one that gets a bit of a hard rap. People say it doesn't last long. For me, I don't know what it is. I mean, and maybe because I know there's a lot of batch conversation on all things Aventus. All things Creed. But Silver Mountain is gorgeous as a summer fragrance. Massive recommendation. That's another one that's beautiful. And Aventus Absolute, I actually like that a lot. It also got another hard rap. What are your thoughts on it, Katherine? Aventus Absolute.
I really like Aventus Absolute. I think it's the happy medium between Aventus Cologne and the original Aventus. It would probably be Aventus Cologne, Absolute, and then the original.
Right. Okay. Beautiful. Yeah, I find the Absolute has this. I mean, I recently bought it for my son, who's 26, and I can smell it everywhere. He's actually adopted it as his fragrance, and it just has such a commanding presence. It's a really good masculine, confident fragrance, personally.
I would ask your opinion on Aventus for women. That was actually my very first niche fragrance that I ever got. It was actually a gift, and I really enjoy it. I do think it leans a little bit more on the masculine side, honestly.
Right.
So I would be curious your opinion.
Well, I actually tried to. That was one that I wanted to buy for Sandra. I thought, we could be the classic Aventus couple. She didn't like it. Then I thought, you know what, it's all right. I'll buy it for me. And it didn't quite work on me either. So that's one that it's one that I wanted to fall in love with, but it didn't cross over. I think the reason for it, I think it was way too fruity. I think maybe that's what it is.
It is fruity.
Yeah. So I think I found it a little bit. So for me to buy it is what I'm saying. I think I found it a little bit similar to the cologne, the Aventus Cologne. So I'm like, I've got Aventus Cologne. I don't know if I need her. And as I said, I wanted to buy it for Sandra, but it didn't resonate with her. Did that?
Yeah, that's pretty much.
I know that you like it, and I think what you said before was body chemistry is another thing too.
Exactly.
So obviously, on you it worked, and your olfactory, I guess, appeal to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I like the fact that we're all different. I think that's important.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Well, should we move on to Tumi Awaken, which I know you don't have?
I don't have. I'm going to be led by you on this.
All right. Well, Tumi Awaken was a hidden gem for me. I tell you, it is my absolute favorite men's fragrance right now. And I think depending on the wearer, it changes. And even on, I've smelled it repeatedly on the same person, and I swear it smells different every single time. The neat thing too, Awaken, the Tumi line of fragrances was created during the pandemic. And, obviously Tumi is a luggage line, about traveling, and the fragrances were all created so that you could travel kind of in your mind without traveling during the pandemic. So they each have like the time, like this one's 8 a.m. So it's supposed to be more of your awaken. Obviously, you're waking up, you're greeting the day. It's just very kind of like the other ones that we've done. It's got a very aromatic entry, but also very smooth and rounded with the base notes.
So what would you like from the lineup? So just so I get a mental picture of, does it lean towards like a aromatic, like a silver, or is it a little bit more citrus?
It is very, honestly, if you're familiar with like YSL L'Homme or what's the other one that it would be? Kind of like Libra, YSL Libra, where they're more designer.
Yeah, I do.
Obviously.
I'm the niche guy.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I've said way too many times, but
so is it, do you know if some of the notes is it like a vetiver?
Yes. Let me pull it up here. I had it all ready to go. And of course, in my syndrome.
Because one thing that I thought was interesting is whenever we think of masculine fragrances, we do think, well, my brain does, is vetiver. So vetiver has always been a very classic masculine note. I mean, I've got a level of vetivers back here, and I thought if we have time. So I'm wondering if Tumi has a classic vetiver sort of structure to it, because vetiver can be either very sort of spicy, earthy, warm, or it can actually be vibrant green and very sort of, energetic, so how would you define it?
So, just to read straight off, the top notes: bergamot, grapefruit, coriander. The mid and base notes: clary sage, fir needle, cypress, frankincense, patchouli, and cedarwood. Right. I don't really get the frankincense too much in it. I'm not a fan of frankincense personally. So I think probably just the blend of the patchouli with the fir needle kind of gives it that. So
it sounds very, very, very fresh, very bright. Believe it or not, frankincense can actually have, and I know this because I've got the Louis Vuitton perfume atlas.
Ooh.
It actually has a lemony pine greenness to it.
Okay.
So sometimes we think frankincense is very smoky, very sort of deep incense, but in actual fact, it actually has a very green element to it, which is quite. It blew my brain. I'm like, no way. Yeah. So I can see how that could probably work in that construct.
Yeah. Well, ironically, maybe then the frankincense is what I'm smelling and enjoying so much.
Right. All right. Tumi, I've got Sandy saying you own Continuum and 19 Degrees. You know, Tumi's is one that I haven't come across, period. I knew that Tumi was a luggage company, and I didn't realize that they had broken into or gone across to fragrances. So I don't think we even have Tumi here in Australia, but I could be wrong. But I don't think we do.
Well, I'll have to figure out how to send you Awaken, because it's one that you need to experience.
Done. When I go to America, when I go to the US,
okay,
we'll meet up and we'll actually we'll experience it in real time.
Good. That sounds like a deal. So,
all right, Sean, I've got a question here from Sean.
Oh, okay.
So, question is Borkanoff. Short answer is no. It's another brand we don't have here in Australia. We did have it. There was a retailer that had it. Things didn't go well for that retailer that no longer around. So I didn't get a chance. So that's one. I know that they have he likes to use a real classic Southeast Asia based oud. I think even to the point he has his own like private source for that oud. But it's not one that I'm really across. So short answer is I don't have it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I haven't even heard of that line. So.
All right, we've got if Creed Aventus for, would that be a fake? Good question. I don't know. Short answer is I don't know. This is the rule that I have in my life. All right, everybody, you do you, and you work it out. I never buy anything from, and this is the other thing too. I know that in the US, discounters are a big thing, and nothing against that. My biggest fear is, am I getting a real thing or am I getting a fake? And I think what happened very, very early on before the channel, I did jump on a discounter from the US and I did buy an amouage. And when I got it, now I don't know whether this was Inception or whether this was actually legitimate. It did not smell the way that I thought it should smell. Again, this is before the channel. And that just because I still had to fork out money for this thing. It was cheaper than buying it locally, but in the end, I still, what I felt, I threw away money because even to this day, I don't even use it. So I always have a problem with buying off discounters. Having said that, though, I know that US that's what happens. That's what you guys do. We in Australia are very fortunate. We have a lot of retail outlets, in particular in Melbourne. There's a lot of retail outlets that actually allow us to walk in, spray, test. So we don't have all the brands that are out there in the world, but we've got a fairly good range. So I always buy from a retailer knowing that it's a legitimate product. So short answer is good luck.
Yeah, unfortunately, I've had that experience as well. And I think you can just tell just by the staying power of the fragrance.
Right. It could be, the other thing too that I've heard is that they are legitimate. It's just that it's older stock or that it's, I don't know whether this is true. There was another one where sometimes they're saying that some of the stock sits in like a Middle Eastern port where it's very hot in a container. And of course, as we know, the two dangers of fragrance is heat and direct sunlight. That's actually what kills your fragrance. So if you want to protect your perfumes, try to keep them away from direct sunlight. I always keep them in the actual box themselves and in a cool, dark place in your house somewhere. So heat and sunlight are the things that will just destroy your fragrance.
Learned that one the hard way, but yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, so anyway, yeah. Keep your boxes. I always put things back in their original box.
Yeah, me too. Anymore.
Okay, so I've got the man discounts in the US are really reliable. Okay, well I would actually, the man is another YouTube channel. Check out his content. I know that he has a really broad range of fragrances. Actually, if you don't mind, put your link in the comments there. Check out this gentleman. He does a lot of reviews. And I know that he also looks at discounters. So I'm sure that he can steer you in the right direction. There you go. Floor is yours.
All right. Well, let's move on to another one, I guess, that you are not aware of, but Jacq Zti. Jacq Zti. Actually, I'm not quite sure how to say it. But it's a newer line. It's out of St. Bart's, actually. I believe that they're housed in Monaco. But he was actually a model turned fragrance person. He created his own fragrance, and so many people were just so in love with it that he created a line around it. And then this one, Cubata, which is the one we're speaking of, was part of.
Can I have a look at the bottle? Can you show me show the bottle?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
That's all right. Yeah, no, definitely one we don't have here in Australia at all. Mm-hmm.
Well, it's one that you should check out. So this particular one is named after Cuba, Havana in Cuba, where they have the cigar rollers. And I'm not even going to attempt to say the proper words because I have a terrible American accent.
Just go for it. Don't worry about it. Actually, no, because otherwise you feel uncomfortable. Yeah.
Well, I think I've already crossed that bridge today. But the Toblerones, but they're the cigar rollers. And the neat thing too in Havana is the entire cigar is all made locally. So that is what this fragrance is supposed to represent, is those all the parts of the cigar. And that being said, I would not think that this is a fragrance that I would enjoy. I do not like cigars. I don't like cigar smoke. But there's just something about it where you spray it, and once you get past that opening, it just becomes so enjoyable of a fragrance. It's a perfect fall winter fragrance. It calms down to more of a tonka bean, woodsy type scent, and I just really enjoy it on a man. It's beautiful. A manly man type scent.
It's a manly man, did you say?
It's a manly man scent. Very masculine.
Yeah, I love when you get that beautiful aromatic masculine sort of touch to something.
Mm-hmm.
When you smell that in the air, it's gorgeous.
Yeah, I got our mutual friend Fred to get this. This is actually his bottle, but it is just really, really enjoyable. I really encourage you to check it out.
Funny, because I saw Fred's name come up and he wrote, I love Cubata. So it's actually his fragrance. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful. Well, I'm going to have to check it out whenever I leave Australia. See if I can find that one.
Yeah, it's actually hard to find in the United States as well. I got it. You can get it from Max Roma. They also, most of Jacq Zti scents, apparently you need to get from the Jacq Zti site itself, but then you got to pay international shipping. So.
Yeah, right. I have a hard time I hate paying for shipping. Oh, it hurts my soul.
Yeah, I hate it too.
Whenever just anyway. So Victoria, good question. I have not come across supers. Is that how you say it? Supers. So that's one. Obviously, Victoria, you're a local Aussie. So if you can let me know where to find that, I'll go check it out because I haven't even heard of that brand. So.
Well, should we move on to Gritti Mango Oud?
Yes, please.
Okay. So this is another where I'm not a fan of oud, but there is just something so enjoyable about this fragrance. It does stay very fruity.
Yep.
Oh, yes. I'm sorry. I didn't show I keep throwing that off, but
Okay,
It
beautiful.
starts off very fruity and then calms down to more of that oud scent, but the way that it's mixed with the fruits, it's just very enjoyable.
Yep. So this is one where, as Catherine's saying, so I love that you've gone off in a different direction. So the earlier ones that we've got here, I haven't smelled the last two, Tumi and Cubata. But these two in front, very aromatic. Then it seems like we're moving into more of a some other notes, you know, the tobacco and all the rest of it.
Mm-hmm.
This is a very fruity fragrance, and I was actually surprised you picked this for a man, because it does have a very fruity, sort of feminine leaning. So where have you smelled this that you thought, wow, that smells great on a man?
Well, tell me more. What do you mean? On a particular guy?
Well, see, what happens sometimes is that men think that so new people who come into perfumery, have come in from designers, always think that a man should be wearing an aromatic or a dry wood style of fragrance, you know, so it has a very masculine sort of lean towards. I find that Mango Oud, as you mentioned, has a very fruity opening.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you're new to sort of breaking out and going into niche, that might scare you as a man. It might scare you a little bit, because you're like, whoa, there's too many fruits going on. Isn't that meant to be for a woman? So
I see.
Yeah.
Well,
so where have you smelt this that you felt like this is a really good fragrance that a man could wear?
I think the dry down with the oud, and I think just because of what you're saying, like men tend to go toward a certain particular scent and to branch out and try something different. I mean, I think the best kind of men are those that keep you guessing, you know? So to have a scent where it's just intriguing and not what you expect to experience on a guy, I think is part of the allure.
I love it. I love it. I dare say that a lot of people in this, and I'm looking at the different names that are coming through, are actual. I've seen your names a number of times on All Things Niche, so I'm going to say you're deep in niche. But if there is somebody here who's new to niche, I love what Katherine had to say, and I would also recommend to you Mango Oud as an awesome fragrance that a man can wear. The fruit notes, as Katherine was saying, is definitely present on that opening. There is a sweetness, but it's not, and tell me what you think, Katherine, it's not overtly like girly, like something that my teenage niece would wear, you know?
No, I would not steer your audience towards that.
No. But this one does not have that, does it?
No.
And I think it's, as you mentioned, it is the woodiness in the base of that Aoud that sort of creates a bit more of a familiar place for a man, a bit more woody, a bit more, you know, a bit more strength in that. But it's not stinky like you mentioned. There's no fecalness to it at all.
No, not at all. And I guess that's where I get kind of dissuaded as a woman to wear this, just because of that dry down. Like the beginning is, I think I easily could pull it off, but the oud at the end, as a woman, I guess I really like to be more feminine. And to me, that does lean more masculine.
Yep. Okay. Yep. Okay.
The neat thing,
I'm wearing it today. That's my fragrance for today.
Oh, wonderful. Wonderful.
Gorgeous. And I love also that there's another fragrance by Stefan Humbert Luca, which is not mango kiss, God of Fire, which has that mango note in it. I find that particular fragrance, the mango seems to feel slightly exaggerated. It's very on the fruity and sort of, you know, just a very almost confectionery mango note to it. Whereas here, the mango is present, but not as overtly fruity. If I were to choose the two, I would choose Mango Oud if I were to pick out of those two.
The neat thing too, if your viewers are unaware, but the history behind Gritti, I love too. The making of the bottles, the 24K top, the what's it called? Not the emblem, the crest, the crest,
coat of arms. Yeah.
And what it represents for the Gritti family, which can you remind me, because I can't think of it offhand, but I loved it.
I don't know. I don't remember what the crest is, but I know that the Grittis are Venetian born, and there was a Doge who was Doge is one of the leaders, or used to be the leaders of the Venetian people. He was the president essentially, and there was a Gritti Doge. So the Gritti family go back into Venice for hundreds of years, which there are an actual. There's even the Gritti Palace in there. It's been converted into a hotel. But yeah, so the Gritti family are actually very deep in all things perfume, and I think Luca, who is the perfumer, is like 4 generations perfumer. I mean, his great grandfather was bringing in spices and stuff like that into Venice and was creating perfume. So there's it's a great family. It's a great fragrance house to explore. Really, really exciting.
And if I remember correctly, I think he was a watch collector as well. And so the packaging is supposed to emulate that.
Right. Possibly.
I could be wrong, but.
No, you're probably right. You're absolutely right. I mean, and again, what Catherine's saying, the detail to it. So I don't know if you can see that, but the Gritti is actually embossed on the bottle. I mean, this is a new design bottle with this sort of funky sort of coloring that it has to it. The lid, again, as Katherine was saying, you could use that as a weapon. It's a really, as a fragrance house, massive recommendation with all things niche. Yeah, definitely.
Oh, for sure. There's so many Gritti fragrances I'm just totally in love with right now.
Yeah, right.
That's part of what I love about fragrance, though, is the art behind it. I think you can enjoy a fragrance, but once you hear the story behind it or the artistry or how it was created, it just makes it all the more enjoyable for me.
Yep. Now,
I'm sorry.
We have one more, I believe, because I normally like to keep this to about an hour, because I know I've just seen that who's a local Aussie, has to go to work. It's here in Australia, it's coming on to 9 a.m. So how about we choose one more, and then what would you like to leave us with, Katherine?
Well, why don't we end with Roja Enigma?
Done.
Sound good?
Sounds good to me. Yeah, heck yeah.
So unfortunately, I don't have the bottle of this one. I would like to, but the parfum is the one in particular that we're speaking of.
Yep. This guy. Boom.
And though they all smell somewhat similar, I did not like the intense version. I definitely recommend purchasing the parfum over the blue bottle. I think the staying power of the parfum is way better. The performance is way better. But again, you have that citrus, you have that aromatic. It's just all things that I totally enjoy. It's a perfect contender for Aventus. I feel I enjoy it more than the Aventus original. To go full circle here. What are your thoughts on it?
Actually, I love where we started and where we've ended, because both of these guys here, so Aventus and Enigma, Elysium. Is it Elysium or Enigma?
Gosh, yeah, Elysium. I'm sorry. The Enigma is the women's that I love.
Yeah. Because it's funny, you said Enigma, but I'm like, yes, Elysium. My brain's going Elysium. So this is Elysium. Yeah. Sorry.
Elysium. Yes, I'm so sorry.
Classic masculine. Good news about this. So I mentioned earlier how sometimes a fragrance smells. Other men go, "Oh wow, you smell great," and then in these aromatics, women go, "Wow, you're great." Okay, I find that Elysium, both parties. If I'm wearing it, another man would say, "Wow, that's a beautiful fragrance. What are you wearing?" But I also get compliments from Sandra. Loves it when I'm wearing it. I get compliments from other women around me. Sounds like I'm trying to pick up. I'm not trying to pick up. All right, so just
no, this one.
I'm a married man.
When I smelled it, I was okay. I need a guy that wears this. Though I have experienced it on a couple guys, and it didn't have the same appeal. So definitely, we're right back to that. It depends on how you wear it.
Yep. I think and it literally has all the classic masculine aromatic dry wood notes in there. So it starts off beautiful citrus with a few herbals in there, and then it does dry down with the vetiver and the woods and the cedar. So I mean, if you look at the pyramid, the way that the way Roja has constructed it. It's super intense. Beautiful fragrance. Great as a winter, great as a summer fragrance. I did do a review if you want to know more. I did break up the cologne, the eau intense, and then the parfum. And all three of them, I really like. I enjoy wearing all three of them without a problem. But if I had to choose easy reach, I found that the parfum is definitely the way to go. I really enjoy it.
Definitely. So yeah, I definitely recommend all the ones that we spoke of today. I think any ones that we spoke of would be a true hit.
I think so. Any one of these that Katherine put forward, gentlemen, it's something that is easy wear and you would easily fall in love with. And I would, if you haven't tried out something a bit more fruity than the Mango Oud, as Katherine mentioned, is fantastic for a man to wear.
Yeah, keep them guessing.
Keep them guessing. I like that. Katherine, thank you.
Oh, no, thank you for having me. I really, really enjoyed this.
Pleasure. I'm going to put a link below. I think I've already done it anyway on the description. If you haven't jumped across to Katherine's channel, check it out. Support. Tell me what your thoughts. I get a lot of people asking me, I'd like to start a YouTube channel. And I always say, do it. What are your thoughts on doing work on the YouTube channel and stuff?
Oh, I love it. I love it. I didn't realize that I would love it as much as I do because I'm just so introverted and shy when you meet me in person. But it's opened so many doors and allowed me to meet so many people that I wouldn't have met otherwise. It's a lot of work. It's definitely a lot of work, but yeah, it's really fun. It's a lot of fun.
That's awesome. I was going to say it's a lot of work.
It's
a lot of work at the moment because, you know, I've got my things that I want to achieve. I'm very hard on myself. But what you said is absolutely right, because the amount of friends that you create, the connections that you establish via this method is pretty phenomenal. There would be no, for me personally, and I think I would say it sounds like it's the same for you. You open up your world. That all of a sudden you're speaking to people from across the globe that you wouldn't necessarily knew that they existed. But whereas
friendships, I mean, you'd think that they would be very casual and surface level, but I tell you, I have really made some great relationships based off of the viewers that I've had.
Yeah, it's wild. Yeah, I totally agree. And you've made me see the joy in it again. You know, because right now all I'm seeing is the hard work.
It is a lot of work. I have a 7-year-old daughter, and she requires a lot of attention, and so it is hard to balance the two. But I wouldn't have it any other way. Yeah,
good for you, Katherine. Wonderful. Thank you so much. I do appreciate you taking time to share more. It's been a pleasure. I've been looking at the camera. I would love to have looked at you directly, but thank you for your time, and thank you for putting these forward to us.
Oh, of course. Thank you. I can't thank you enough.
Katherine, a bientôt, as they say in French, which just means I'll see you later.
A bientôt.
Boom. All right. Thanks, everyone. I get so nervous when in the lead up to, I don't know why, but I do. I get nervous from a tech point of view, and then, you know, because I want to read the comments but also engage in the conversation, and so will it all work? Anyway, it's been wonderful seeing people's comments coming through. Mercedes, she's a champion. She actually, and I want to thank you again. I've been testing all the zoologists. So Mercedes, when we caught up in Monaco recently, gave me like the full collection of all the zoologists. So thank you. They're awesome. They're wild. They're pretty bizarre. Some of them are just, you know, very very approachable. But thank you, Mercedes, for all of that. Thank you to everybody who did come along. There's been a lot of incredible comments coming through. I wish I've had the chance to spend more time and look at all this. Gerard, forget making YouTube content is roughly 1 hour. Boom. Absolutely. It's yeah, it's a lot of work. And I am, when it comes to I'm very particular. I want it to be, and sometimes, I mean, we create something. I'm grateful that I have the two young ladies who work here also, but sometimes we create something and then I don't like it, and we not necessarily restart, but we definitely sort of peel it right back and then start again. So it's yeah. Mate Talk, baby. I love Mate Talk because it's a lot easier. It's just, boom, straight through. I mentioned I'm getting the wind up from my wife. Sandra says that I talk too much, basically. That's what she's saying. It's not very nice. She's meant to be my wife who's supporting me. But what I was saying is, excellent. If you guys are going to be around, if you're planning to be over there for it, and please, I would love to catch up. I'd love to meet. I mean, for me, it's about, I prefer more the in-person engagement than via this sort of method. But this is a great way to connect, obviously. But if you're going to be in Milan over that February period, let me know. We will put a call out, and it would be awesome to actually meet in person, face to face, and talk about, niche perfumery and about a million other things, because this is only a part of our lives, basically. Yeah. Everybody, thank you. Thanks for joining us. It's been awesome, and I appreciate your company. Thank you, Igor. I always get, like I said, I always get nervous, but I'm hoping that it was enjoyable. So, and again, I thank Katherine for her time and for contribution. It's always nice to hear a different voice in these things. Boom, baby. I'm out of here. Have an awesome weekend for those who in the Northern Hemisphere. For us Aussies, have an awesome week ahead. And we'll see you guys on the next one.